An FBI special agent searches for a biological weapon planted in Los Angeles by a criminal genius and sadistic terrorist for hire. Since the criminal is to blame for his son's death, he has been hunting them for the past 8 years and is driven by a desire for vengeance. In order to accomplish this, he needs to borrow the criminal's face through surgery in order to go undercover as the criminal. However, when the criminal takes on his identity, things go wrong. September 1991. In downtown Los Angeles, FBI Special Agent Sean Archer is riding the Griffith Park Carousel with his 6-year-old son, Michael. In the meantime, Castor Troy aims at Archer, waits for a clear shot, and then pulls the trigger. Archer is wounded in the back by the bullet. A few moments later, Archer is seen in agony as he lies on his stomach. Despite his bleeding, he finds Michael dead from a gunshot wound to the head. While Castor looks up from the scope of his gun, shocked to realize he has just killed a child, Archer crawls over and clutches his dead son's body. 6 years later, since the attempted assassination of Castor, Archer, the field agent in charge of the FBI's Los Angeles field office, has been actively chasing Castor. Castor has a terrorist career. He is upset because the people closest to him, Wanda, Buzz, Loomis, and Tito Blondie, do not know Castor's most recent location. Castor, in the meantime, equips and assembles a large bomb known as Sinclair within the Los Angeles Convention Center while posing as a preacher. He can't help but grope a blonde choir girl and give a loud, enthusiastic hallelujah to a choir as he is leaving. Tito storms into the FBI office and tells Archer that Pollux, Castor's brother, has just hired a jet at a nearby airfield and paid for it with cash. After giving Tito the order to install an undercover agent aboard the aircraft right away, Archer storms out of the office. Alongside his friends Leo and Lars, Pollux Troy is eagerly waiting in his convertible on the tarmac of a nearby airfield. When Castor arrives in his own vehicle, he feels relieved. He gets out and approaches Pollux. After that, Castor and Pollux board the aircraft and are welcomed by Winters, an undercover agent who is disguising himself as a flight attendant. Pollux glances out the window at the same moment as a helicopter and several police cars approach behind the jet and begin to pursue it. Castor bolts from his seat and heads inside the cockpit to investigate the approaching car. Winters pulls out her pistol and points it at Castor at that moment. Without further ado, Pollux tosses his briefcase at her, pins her to the ground, and brutally beats her. Disarmed, Castor pushes Winters out the door and forces Archer to watch as he shoots her in the back. There was an intense battle, with prolonged gunfire and chasing. Pollux was eventually captured. Then Castor turns to see Pollux being handcuffed by Tito and Wanda. Archer proceeds to kick Castor into the turbine's backdraft. Castor is propelled rearward by Archer's button-pressing action until he strikes a ventilation grate and stops moving. When Archer gets home, his family's situation is not ideal. Due to the amount of time he spends searching for Castor, his daughter Jamie frequently gets into trouble, and his relationship with his wife Eve appears to be rather distant. When Archer returns to the office, he enters the room slowly and seems devastated. The staff congratulates him. After logging in, Archer makes a few button pushes to close the Castor Troy case. It is recognized by Archer as a biological weapon. But it's harder to find out more about the bomb because Pollux will only discuss it with Castor, who is most likely dead, when they talk about the bomb. Miller and Dr. Malcolm Walsh, the head of the institute, present Archer with a bold plan. They want Archer to steal Castor's voice and face in order to enter Erewhon prison pretending to be Castor and obtaining information on Sinclair from Pollux. Thinking the entire scheme is ridiculous, Archer begins to walk away. Late at night, he questions Sasha Hassler, Castor's longtime girlfriend. She says she hasn't seen Castor in a long time. Archer then questions Dietrich, Sasha's brother. Things go sour when Dietrich decides to insult Archer by asking him about his deceased son. Miller and Tito greet Archer once more. Accepting the mission, Archer feels he has nothing to lose. After giving farewells to Eve and Jamie, the surgery starts. Archer's exposed muscles are covered by Castor's face, which is subsequently attached to the rest of his skin muscles. After that, the blood vessels are rejoined, concluding the surgical procedure. A few days later, Archer wakes up and requests that Tito and Miller destroy his new face as soon as he obtains the necessary information, and even his voice was changed. Archer is taken by 2 jail officers who then lead him to the chopper. When Archer's face is revealed once again, Walton, the prison warden, enters and tells him, "You are now the property of Erewhon Prison. A citizen of nowhere." Archer's feet are then clamped firmly in magnetic boots attached to a field that allows the guards to monitor every prisoner's location around the clock. As Archer turns to speak with Pollux, he is interrupted by another prisoner, a burly Russian named Ivan Dubov, who is ready to get revenge on the true Castor. Dubov throws Archer around and gives him a severe thrashing. Archer recovers his composure and hit Dubov with a lunch tray. At the Walsh Institute, when the real Castor awakens, he finds that his face has lost skin. Using a phone under his wing, he phones Lars and Leo and requests that they arrive immediately. Dr. Walsh is taken by Lars and Leo. Back to Uri 1, Archer sits down with Pollux and gets information from him on the device. Subsequently, much to his surprise, Castor Troy enters, too thrilled to discover that Archer has been placed under his name in prison. He killed Dr. Walsh along with 2 of lab technicians. Miller and Tito are bound and set ablaze. This does not sit well with Archer, who tries to suffocate Castor with his bare hands right away. However, guards come in to stop him. Once back in the city, Eve was perplexed to discover something different about her husband. Castor can't help but look at her as she heads out to the hospital for work. When he gets upstairs, he discovers Jamie on the phone with her partner. Jamie doesn't understand her father's recent smoking habit. Pollux is taken to the FBI office. Castor turns off the videotape and microphone, goes into the questioning room, and tells Pollux he is intended to be a snitch. With Castor's tip from Pollux in hand, the cops rush to the convention center and quickly take it out. Castor is inside keeping an eye on 2 bomb squad specialists as they attempt to disable the device. Castor gives them a firm command to depart. When they are gone, he proceeds with dramatic flair to disarm the device. He then shuts off the timer panel, satisfied. Following his viewing of Castor's CNN interview, Archer is seen pouting in his cell, obviously a shattered man. Meanwhile, Castor is gloating at the FBI headquarters as the other agents applaud him for disarming the device. That night, Castor and Eve had a romantic dinner. Afterwards, they made love. Meanwhile, Archer was feeling down in prison. Hicks informs him that he is unable to flee and that the only way he can remove his boots is by being sent to the clinic for shock therapy. He approaches the security officer and asks for a cigarette, starting a brawl with multiple other guards. In the clinic, when his boots were taken off, he had the chance to flee with Dubov's assistance. They then started fighting with the guards, which resulted in a tiny explosion that knocked out one of them. Archer enters codes into the control room in an attempt to overwhelm the security system. Now that he's safe, Archer climbs a stairway to the roof, where he discovers the prison to be an offshore oil platform in the Pacific Ocean, not far off the coast of California. As a chopper appears, the gunner fires at him. With haste, Archer takes off his socks and leaps from the platform into the ocean. Following his jailbreak, Archer swims to shore. After robbing a car from a valet parking lot, he heads to Eve's place of employment, the hospital. Using the car phone, he calls Eve and tries to warn her about Castor. Eve, however, hangs up on him because she believes someone is impersonating her husband. Archer makes the decision to take a car to Dietrich's penthouse apartment. Dietrich was happy to see Archer as Castor at the apartment. They are all happy to see Castor as he lets Archer inside and shows him to the apartment's second story. As Archer settles onto a chair, Dietrich gives him a box containing some of Castor's usual contraband and makes him drink water that has been tainted with drugs. Sensing that his body is rejecting the drugs, Archer cuts himself out of the conversation. Castor witnesses Jamie and Carl, Jamie's boyfriend, arriving into the driveway. As Jamie gets ready to get out of the car, Carl tries to move in on Jamie. Suddenly, Castor uses his foot to smash through the window, yanking him from the car and him a brutal pounding. A few minutes later, Castor is discussing the situation with Jamie. He commands her to use the butterfly knife he offers her as protection in the event that she is attacked. Back to Dietrich's apartment, Archer is face down on a bed, shirtless, and Sasha is seated beside him, and make heated scene. Inside, Archer discovers that Adam is 5 years old and remembers, shortly before Michael passed away, covering his face on a carousel. Just in time, a grenade launcher is fired by an FBI agent across the street. Sasha and Adam are instantly pulled to the ground by Archer as the SWAT squad opens fire with submachine guns, spraying bullets all over the glass. Panic struck the men and women assembled in the loft right away. Archer snatches Adam's headset. There was an intense battle with prolonged gunfire. Dietrich also joined the fight. Several of officers and thugs alike are both shot dead in the furious gun battle. Archer grabs Adam from his hiding place just as an officer opens fire on him and hands Adam over to Sasha, who rushes downstairs to the lobby. Archer saw Adam caught in between a fierce battle, seemingly enjoying the music, while Sasha fought off numerous enemies. After Archer managed to grab Adam, they were fired upon by the FBI with a submachine gun. As Buzz is ready to shoot Sasha, Archer unexpectedly collars him and is startled to see him. When he hears Dietrich approaching, he shoots the ground beside Buzz after knocking him unconscious. Castor shot at Sasha, but Dietrich was the one hit. When Archer saw him, he immediately opened fire. There was an intense battle with prolonged gunfire and even chasing, until one of them was defeated. Then, Castor looks down and notices Pollux lying lifeless on the ground. He starts crying right away. The following morning, Castor comes to his office in a daze. Afterwards, an irate Lazaro enters to tell him that he is ending Castor's war on crime due to the needless bloodshed from his gunfight with Archer at Dietrich's flat. After revealing his true identity with a snarl in his ear, he kills Lazaro. In the meantime, Archer breaks into his own home. Whereas Eve doesn't have to accept a word he says, there is one way she may verify Archer's claims. Castor's blood type is AB, whereas Archer's blood type is O+. Eve discreetly and soundlessly inserts a needle into his left arm to extract a small amount of blood. When the findings show that her sample is AB, she gasps. Archer enters the room at that same moment. Eve says she doesn't know who to trust as she pulls a handgun on him out of nowhere. She ultimately learns the truth as he tells her the tale of their first kiss. Castor is searching the hospital for Archer after arriving with Leo and Lars. Eve runs for cover, and to his dismay he discovers her ostensibly in the middle of tending to a burn sufferer. The following day, Sasha and Archer locate Castor at Lazaro's burial, where Castor is holding Archer's wife hostage. Eve is trapped in the center of a Mexican standoff between all of them. Then comes a gunfight that ends with the deaths of Castor's minions and Sasha. Archer prevails in a gunfight and a hand-to-hand conflict between Castor and himself. After locating a gun, Jamie shoots Archer. He holds Jamie captive, licking her face while talking about peaches. But after stabbing him in the leg with the balisong, she manages to force him to let her go. Castor then shoots 2 FBI agents to get away as Archer chases after him. Archer follows Castor as he escapes aboard a boat. Following a protracted chase, an explosion from their boat's crashes destroys both Archer and Castor's boats, throwing them ashore. Following a last hand-to-hand struggle between the two, Archer prevails by using a spear gun to kill Castor. Eve is successful in persuading the FBI of Archer's genuine identity and explaining the whole issue to them. After that, Archer is brought to the hospital, where his face is repaired by a group of the best medical professionals in Washington, D.C. Following the restoration procedure, Archer returns home, hugging Eve and Jamie, with his natural voice and original face. Jamie says he's sorry about shooting him. Shortly afterward, Adam Hassler, Castor's son with Sasha, joins his family. Jamie agrees to take him as her new brother and shows him to his new room. Eve approves to adopt him with Sean. For more videos similar to this, don't forget to subscribe and enable notifications. Thank you for watching.